All right, guys, I'm starting it. It's 5 o'clock. Get your mics on. Canning, put your microphone on. All right, I've got 5 o'clock. All right, let's get started, guys. It's 5 o'clock. I'll call the September 4th, 2025 Scott County Board of Adjustment meeting to order. First item on agenda is approval of the August 7th, 2025 minutes.
I make a motion to approve with the correction of the, I don't know which line that would be.
The recommendation.
Yes.
Sharp, yes.
Yes,
Sharp.
okay,
Got that changed.
okay.
All right.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion's been passed. Second thing is swearing in of speakers. Charlie?
Everyone signed in to speak. You stand and raise your right hand, please. You swear affirm the statement should be made to be the truth to the best of your information and belief? I do.
All right, old applications, we don't have any listed, so moving on to new applications. Brett, S 2025-22.
Sure, yes. This is a secondary application to something you all heard earlier, I believe early spring, out there on Wood Lake Road. We previously had a variance request to provide relief from the 250-foot lot width as well as some setback variances, which were granted previously. One of the conditions of approval of that variance was that if there were a new entrance proposed onto this parcel due to the location of the home, that there need be a plat drawn up, as well as permission from the state of Kentucky, being that Wood Lake Road is a state road, that KYTC permission be granted and noted on said plat. The applicant has now come forth with this application and has fulfilled those requirements, and that's why we're here today. Again, here's the parcel in question. Overhead view as well. KRS 100.243 gives us the findings necessary for granting variances as staff and board. Before any variance is granted, the board must find that the granting of the variance will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare, will not alter the essential character of the general vicinity, will not cause a hazard or nuisance to the public, and will not allow an unreasonable circumvention of the requirements of the zoning regulations. In making these findings, the board shall consider whether the requested variance arises from special circumstances which do not generally apply to land in the vicinity or in the same zone. The strict application of the provisions of the regulation would deprive the applicant of the reasonable use of the land or would create an unnecessary hardship on the applicant, and the circumstances are the result of actions of the applicant taken subsequent to the adoption of the zoning regulations from which relief is sought. And finally, Part 2 states the board shall deny any request for variance arising from circumstances that are the result of willful violations of the zoning regulation by the applicant subsequent to the adoption of the zoning regulations from which relief is sought. There you go, Mark. Now you don't have to read that later. You're welcome. So the applicant, again, has brought forth a plat that was required as a condition of approval for the previous variance requests, detailing the new location of the entrance. Here's a zoomed in shot here, again showing the date and coordinates that KYTC spotted as an approved location for this entrance. Typically we require, I believe it's 250 feet separation if two adjacent 5-acre to 10-acre parcels share a driveway or just general separation. This entrance will be 112 feet from the nearest driveway. The next driveway over serves the parcel that adjoins both to the west and the north, so it is a shared driveway. If it weren't for the parcel to the rear, this requirement would not apply, but technically it does in this circumstance. So that's why we're here today. Again, our findings are that it is a 5-acre parcel in the A1 zone. 2 variances were granted previously to allow a more favorable building location on this parcel this past April. Subdivision and development regulations state every 2 adjacent 5 to 10-acre parcels, this is where I was wrong, must have an access separation of at least 300 feet. I don't know why I can never remember that. Denying this requested variance will create hardship on the applicant, as it will limit access to the home site that was previously approved by the board. All in all, staff is recommending approval of this variance request. The only, again, new stipulation, again, being number 5, it just kind of reiterates a previous condition of approval that this plat must be approved by the District 7 Transportation, as well as we have to review it as staff and record it as an instrument in the courthouse. So that's all I've got.
Does anyone have any questions for Brett?
Any complaints, any concerns?
No, ma'am.
Is the applicant here? Would you like to add anything?
I'm here for any questions.
All right, I guess I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve. Where we're at, I'm sorry, lost my page. To approve S 2025-22, based upon the staff's recommendations.
Second. Motion's made second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion approved.
Get your letter in the morning, and then I'll get with Mr. Simonis. We'll review and hopefully get the plat file.
Thank you, guys.
Okay? Thank you, Mr. Barnett.
All right, next item on the agenda is S 2025-23.
Yes, good evening. The applicant, Mr. George Tanner George, is applying for a variance. He's applying for a variance along two property lines to the north, 15 foot. So proposed that be 35 feet from that property line and 25 feet from the eastern property line. The address is 257 Gallo Road in Stamping Ground. It is zoned A1. It's a little over 5 acres, and staff is recommending denial for this application. This is the site and surrounding properties. This is an aerial image of the property itself. It's not the most current, or it's not recent. So the proposed barn, I should say, is up in this corner, in the top right in the northeast corner. And so I would draw your attention to the angle of that particular corner. So that's one of the stated reasons for this variance request. As Rhett had pointed out, there's some requirements in terms of finding for a variance and granting it. I won't reiterate those again. It is upon the applicant's shoulders to provide that evidence that a variance would be necessary. And issues in regards to this particular application, I stated before, he's requesting a 15-foot variance along the northern boundary line and a 25-foot variance from the eastern boundary line. It's zoned A1. There's a 50-foot required setback for all structures from all property lines. As I understand, the proposed structure would be 40 feet by 48 feet for a horse barn. The construction of the barn has already commenced and is estimated by the applicant to be approximately 25% completed. We did receive some communications from the building department that might be a little bit more. The applicants here tonight can sort of address the stage at which that building is currently at. This is the site plan provided by the applicant, and I've tried to summarize some of the statements provided by the applicant, and if I've made any incorrect statements, please let the board know. So there are 4 points. The chosen location is the best position to maximize the available space to support a small horse farm operation. The selected location allows for separation of the horses on the subject property from the horses on adjacent property to the east. The area would otherwise be unusable, and the sharp angle of the northeastern corner presents a potential danger spot of one horse being able to corner and harm another horse. I didn't realize this was a thing, a bit naive. I guess I'm sort of a My Little Pony version of horses, so this was informative to me. And looking at the layout of this land, I can certainly see it's a constrained corner. It's not a direct representation of the true parcel configuration, as you can see there, but it does show that there's a very sharp corner which horses might be constrained by other horses. Much of the property is pretty open. I did look at the topography. The topo lines are not too visible, but basically there's no more than a 15 to 20% difference in elevation across the property.
Is that a sinkhole or a pond or?
I'm not sure what that is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good question for our applicant. I didn't see any hasher marks in the topo lines indicating it was a depression. Maybe some vegetation, I'm not quite sure. So the findings that we have in this application are as follows. Again, the project size is a little over 5 acres and zoned A1. 50-foot setback of all structures is required from all property lines. The requested setback allowance for placement of the barns for 35 feet from the north line and 25 feet from the eastern property line. The proposed paddock, which is represented by the fence line, you can see going down from the barn, the northern property line, front of the barn, down this way, not including the house. The proposed paddock, as shown in the submitted site plan, accomplishes the desired function of restricting horses from the confining corner of the property as well as from the close proximity to the adjacent property to the east. Location of the barn does not restrict containment functions of the paddock. Staff's of the opinion that denying this requested variance would not create an unnecessary hardship on the applicant. Building permits are not acquired prior to commencement of construction of the barn. Absent a variance as requested to place the barn in the proposed location, sufficient portions of the structure must be removed in order to adhere to the setback requirements of the zoning district. Part 2 of KR 7 100.243 requires the Board of Adjustments shall deny any request for a variance arising from circumstances that are a result of willful violation of the zoning regulations by the applicant. Therefore, we are recommending denial of this application. If the board should approve this application, we do suggest the following conditions in that approval: that the property is subject to all requirements of the zoning ordinance and subdivision regulations. The applicant shall comply with requirements of other federal, state, and local regulatory entities. The applicant shall obtain a building permit from the Building Inspection's Office for further construction on this barn. The applicant shall install perimeter landscaping screening along the eastern property line sufficient to shield the barn from view from the adjacent property. The landscaping shall meet the requirements specified in Section 6.10 of the Georgetown-Scott County Landscape and Land Use Buffer Ordinance. Just to clarify a little bit about what that means, it does call for a wintertime 50% opacity of that area. Yes.
Is this under conditions of approval? Because it's not on my packet.
It is under conditions of approval.
How many conditions do you have?
I have 5.
Well,
We
we're
have
missing
4.
one.
And I don't see the 85% on here done either. I was looking.
We only have 4 conditions of approval, so I'm sorry. Could you repeat the 5th one?
Yeah, I beg your pardon. So in regards to
The screening.
I was on the 4th one,
Okay.
which is
Oh, no.
the screening. That's probably the added one.
Yeah, we don't have
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, I think maybe we had further discussion on this after the packet was
Okay.
complete. So I beg your pardon on that
That's fine, if you
confusion.
could just start at the beginning on that, okay?
Okay. And then we'll just explain what that part of the landscaping
Okay.
requires: a 50% opacity during winter and 70% opacity during the summer. To shield the structure from view of the adjacent property. And lastly, which I believe you do have in your packet, the applicant shall return to the board prior to any changes in approved conditions.
Do you have any further questions on the screening? Does anybody have any further questions on the screening?
Okay, I do. Mark,
Yes.
say those 2 percentages again.
Yes, during the summer should be
It's
50%
not where it needs to be.
opacity, and during the winter, 70% opacity.
Okay, that's what you said.
Got those reversed.
Okay,
yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know.
Now it's gonna be better in the winter
Yeah.
than it is in the summer.
Yeah, sorry. I beg your pardon on that.
That's fine.
So 70 and 50.
70 and 50, yeah. 70 in the summer
It still says
and
25,
50 in the winter.
and he said 78% now. I can't see it.
Is that all you had?
That's all I have.
Does anyone have any more questions for him at the moment?
I want to ask why the landscape screening for this specific variance?
Well, the idea behind the landscaping is because it would not meet the regulations, and it would be closer to the property than what typically would be allowed. So to offset or mitigate that impact, screening, we feel would be appropriate measure to do that in regards to the neighbor next door. In terms of the functionality of one of the cited reasons for seeking the variance was to keep the horses away from the adjacent property so their horses wouldn't bother each other. That paddock fencing meets that requirement. So the proposed landscape or suggested landscaping is primarily to shield from the adjacent property's view because it's closer than what typically would be permitted.
I just hadn't seen that before. And
Is it aesthetic, or is it because they too own horses, and you're saying the conflict between two?
The landscaping would have no impact in terms of the horses
So it's
meeting each other.
aesthetic to please the neighbor?
Uh,
Okay.
It would be a screening, yeah.
I understand.
Not just aesthetic.
All right, no more questions at the moment?
Okay.
We'll
thank
get back to you.
Well, let me say something. I guess, Charlie, as the commission, our main concern is to see if the applicant willingly,
Yeah, we're calling them up.
he had to have
Well, that's one of the considerations, is whether this is a willful
Yeah.
violation, whether it's an innocent
Yeah.
oversight, I mean, just whatever it is. And that is a factor that the statute requires us to consider.
Yeah, and also in terms of whether it's unwarranted hardship by not granting the variance, if that would be the results as well. And so these, again, are sort of the list of findings that you should consider when weighing your decision.
Do we,
We'll
ha-
let him speak
Yeah.
to all
Yes,
that
yes,
when
I
he
think that'd be
comes
very-
up.
is there a picture of what it currently looks like?
I do not have one.
Have you been out there, Mark?
I've not been able
Well,
to look at the site.
We'll applicant next then.
Okay.
You just hang on there, Mark. We
All right.
might get back with you. Applicant, step up, please.
Good evening, everyone.
And there's several questions for you, but before we get to other questions, I just want to ask what Mark had said on the first supporting information where you said that you wanted the barn to keep where one horse could not corner another horse. If they're
Yes,
in the
ma'am.
paddock, they're not in that corner, correct?
That's correct, and that's why we chose that location for the barn, is the alternative would be relocating the paddock to where they could be in that corner.
So you're not saying that that's the purpose of the barn, you're saying the location of the barn is just a byproduct of where you put the paddock, is that correct?
Correct.
All right,
Yes.
I just
Yeah,
wanted to
we,
verify.
the primary goal of how we set up the property was to maintain as much pasture as we could.
All right, thank you. Janet, you had a question for?
Well, just address how you started the building process, why you're 25% along
No,
right now.
75 to 80.
Well,
Again, that's information we've got separate.
That's what he said.
application received. So I'm not sure what stage the building is currently.
well.
Okay, just start from
Yes, ma'am.
where you talked to all the builders, you said you talked to 4 builders, and how you arrived at the one that you chose, and
Yes,
what your
ma'am.
communication was with.
So I did reach out to 4 different builders when I was looking for getting the barn built. All of them have extensive experience in the Bluegrass region. The builder that I eventually went with is actually one of the main builders for most of the large horse farms in the
Who
area.
is it?
I'm sorry?
Who is it?
It's Victor Longecker. He's based out of Maysville, but he's built, recently, he's built 3 new breeding sheds on Don Alberto's farm off of Leestown Road.
Leestown.
So he's the best recommendation that we had. To address what I think everyone's main point is the willful violation. I spoke with each builder. I'm a project manager for Amazon. Had each builder lay out beginning to end of how they propose to construct the barn, where they source their materials, if they sublet any of the work. I had them go through everything, and not a single one said anything about acquiring a building permit, about zoning regulations, not a single one. And to be quite honest, I deferred to their experience in the area, and I incorrectly assumed that if there was an issue or applications that we had to fill out, that either they would notify me and let me know that I was responsible for that, or if they were responsible themselves. It's not in our construction contract. None of the builders even mentioned it.
Did you build your own home?
We hired it out. So we
But
we
I
had-
bet they had contract, and I bet that they had a building permit for the home. Like, I'm thinking it's a familiar process is where I'm going.
Actually, it was not.
Okay.
We had Gaines Contracting build the house. I didn't apply for a single permit. I didn't apply for anything. He handled end to end for the project. All I was responsible for was coordinating between him and the bank. That was my level of involvement.
That is how we built our house.
You know, I looked up the definition. I took a few law classes in college just to determine if, that's a career I wanted to pursue. I was a history major. You either go teach or you become a lawyer, basically is what our career path was.
Have you asked the builder, since this has arisen, have you asked him why he did not mention a permit?
I have, and you will not like his answer.
I would
So
like his answer.
he is Amish. 2 of the builders that we spoke with were Amish, and 2 of them were not. And he.
Sovereign
basi-
citizen?
I'm sorry?
Is he a sovereign citizen?
What?
It's a thing, it's a
Yeah,
thing,
I
it's a thing.
have no idea.
So he's not accountable, probably, that's the way they look at it.
Oh, my
That's
goodness.
what we were wondering earlier today if you had an Amish builder.
Yeah, yeah. Two of them were.
They don't
and then-
recognize the, yeah.
Yeah, that's, I did some Google searches after, all this issue arose, and it was pretty much that the Amish are still required to follow all zoning regulations, so I was very surprised that, he wasn't aware, but like I said, I've been in constant communication with him since May, and we started the first week of July, never said a thing.
Janet, next question?
Well, somebody else can ask questions.
Is that a sinkhole, a dried up pond, or brush pile?
It's a brush pile, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay,
There it is.
Yes, so basically, when we bought the property here, from about right here to this corner up here, about roughly maybe an acre was complete juvenile trees. So with the idea of having a small horse operation, we dozed those down.
it looks depressed, that's why I was asking.
It was it's the Singer property where they subdivided it. I've been told that it was their trash bin. While I doze up the brush pile, condense it all after it burns, I found some evidence of trash, but it's like mostly cinder blocks.
So it's gone now?
Mostly gone, yes, ma'am. Yeah, it's taken quite a bit of time to burn.
Does anyone else have any questions at this time for the builder? For the applicant? You have nothing else to add at the moment?
I would love to
I'm not
see
sure
it.
where the completion percentage numbers came from. I would like to add that I did communicate with the builder, and he estimated that he's 25% complete. He's got the framing done, it's under roof, he's got one wall, but he did say that about 70 to 75% of the project is still yet to be completed.
The rest of the walls and all the finish work?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
You don't have a current picture of it?
I can show you on my phone.
I would love
yeah.
to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, all I could see was like a driveway.
Well, I wasn't gonna trespass to go look at it.
So what kind of,
You could have. I have no
Appreciate
issues
that.
with that.
what kind of hardship would it present if you had to move the barn?
According to my builder, it would be significant. The way the posts are cemented in, some of the least of the posts are like 3 foot down in concrete. And he said some of them, just the way sorry about that. Some of the way that the land sat, they're deeper. And, when I had the phone call conversation of, hey, we've got to stop construction, this is what's going on. He came, I'm sorry?
Your picture, don't put your
Oh,
phone
yeah,
up.
sorry. He said that it would be super difficult, but, so yeah, he didn't describe what that meant. I've since looked up some YouTube videos and it looks pretty super difficult.
You didn't have a conversation with him addressing the accountability of that? As far as the hardship financial should be on him for
I wonder if he's
permit or you?
licensed.
We haven't had that conversation.
Okay, that's,
I
all
would.
right. Who's gonna?
Sorry, I'm not a big picture taker. Justin, do you have any?
Guess we move on to neighbor while he looks the picture up, or he can wait.
Yeah. Yeah, go on, talk to the neighbor.
Yes, ma'am.
That's okay, we'll get to you in just a second.
I guess my concern got quashed because I was concerned that was why they didn't put that there, other than it's in the middle of their field, and that's a, obstruction of it.
I was confused, I was thinking they were saying the barn was limiting the access, but he's saying the paddock is limiting the access, and
Right,
that's why the
and
barn
I was
is the only
concerned that
other
if we
place.
had asked them to move it over here, that would've been no bueno, because that,
So here's the last picture that I've received while she's
He
looking
brings
for
the
it.
baby with him, so we have to look at the baby.
So at that point, he was communicating with me that by the end of that day, they would finish and be completely under roof. The only work this was 2 days before we received the order to stop construction. And after that day was a Monday, the next day, Tuesday, he had put up one side
Okay.
of metal siding.
When was this?
All right.
Did they
Uh,
stopped
it's
working
days.
since then?
Yes, ma'am, they stopped immediately after.
Charlie?
All right.
We were actually on vacation when this all occurred.
Yeah.
My mom was
That's a
there,
barn.
watching the house and the dogs for
That's
us.
a great barn.
And,
Here you
That's
go.
fine, we saw a picture. All
Well, he
right.
said they stopped work after that.
yeah, it's, like I said, it's date stamped as well since it's
No, that's
a
fine.
text message.
Does anyone have any more questions for him before we move on?
It's over 25%.
We'll come back to it if we need to.
Yeah, so with the stalls, the concrete work, everything had to be completed, the builder estimated 70 to 75%
Okay, all
left
right,
over.
thank you.
I don't think.
Mark, I have one question to you before we go to the neighbors. How did this come up?
I do
You got a call
too.
from a neighbor? All right, thank you. We'll get back with you. And is
I know
anyone,
what it
neighbor
takes.
here to speak?
So do you?
Yeah. She said yes, come up, please. State your name.
My name is Terry Richards, and I have some of those pictures if you folks want to see them.
Sure.
I don't have enough for everybody.
That's okay, we'll just pass. We only need one. I mean, that's
Well, okay.
fine.
What we're doing here is I'm on the eastern side,
Yes,
and this is my fence line right here.
okay. Yeah, that's where the encroachment's coming in.
And this is the location of the barn, which might be easier to see.
There's the fence line right there.
It's the little yellow dot.
Exactly.
So,
That's the same picture.
yeah, well, here's a different one. Did you see that one? That just shows the placement.
Anything goes with it.
Y'all, that look right to you?
Yeah, that's accurate. It's,
Okay,
like I said, it's under roof, it's got one side completed.
thank you. Go ahead. What else would you like to say?
Thank you, ma'am.
How far off the fence line is it? Can I say at least?
I'm on the eastern side. My name is Terry Richards. I purchased my horse farm acreage over 10 years ago from my friend Jeff Singer. My fence separates Mr. George's 5-acre plot from my pastures and my horses. I am requesting that the board deny Mr. George's petition for a variance. As the board is aware, in Kentucky, zoning and land use regulations, the essential character of the general vicinity is a legal concept that refers to the established pattern of development, culture, and environment in a specific area. I'm probably repeating a whole lot of what you've already said. Sorry. Several aspects are considered when determining a vicinity's essential character so as not to disrupt the existing nature of the neighborhood. This includes the cultural and social norms, such as the predominant use of the land. In a rural or agricultural zone, for instance, zoning regulations are intended to preserve, promote, and protect the rural character of the land. In practice, the term is frequently used in zoning and planning decisions regarding variances. Applicants for the zoning variance must often prove that the change will not alter the essential character of the general vicinity, end quotes. The rural character by definition includes rural space between neighbors. That is a part and parcel of the general character of a rural area. The minimum 50-foot setback is evidence that this board agrees. The board is familiar with Kentucky law that prohibits zoning boards from granting variances that allow for unreasonable circumvention of zoning regulations, that the Board of Adjustment must make specific findings. To determine a circumvention is unreasonable, the board should consider several special circumstances. One of note in this discussion, would strict application of the zoning ordinance create an unnecessary hardship or deprive the applicant of reasonable use of the land? As the board can see from the topo, Mr. George owns over 220,000 square feet of clear-cut ground. His unfinished barn can be relocated to a number of different locations that are in compliance with our zoning restrictions. Consequently, I see no hardship evident. The Kentucky statute states that boards are expected to ensure that a variance still substantially complies with the intent and purpose of the zoning ordinance. No loopholes, quote, end quote, for abuse. The purpose being to prevent the regulations from being easily bypassed or exploited. While boards consider hardships and unique conditions, they must balance these with the broader neighborhood conditions and integrity of the zoning plan. In essence, if the requested change would essentially nullify or make significant mockery of the established zoning requirements, it should be considered an unreasonable circumvention and be denied. And you've already heard 243, but it's number 2 states that the board shall deny any request for a variance arising from circumstances that are the result of willful violation of zoning regulations. Mr. George stated he was not aware of a permit. Therefore, I would agree that allowing ignorance as an excuse degrades the integrity of this board and the reputation of other planners, of our planners. To note, I also have had structures constructed by the Amish. They do an absolute excellent job and they're very good workers. They don't look for things like, they assume the owner has already done the due diligence on as far as gaining and knowing the requirements. And if I have misinterpreted our laws, the board considers approving this variance. I earnestly request that mitigation be considered to include at least a 10-foot devil's walk and a screen of non-poisonous trees with a 5-year longevity guarantee. I feel that this board, for its own sake, will deny this variance. And I thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you.
Excuse me, what was your alternative if in fact we decided otherwise? What did you say you would request?
Screening.
I would request at least a 10-foot devil's walk between my fence and their fence. My horses are in that field.
What, a devil's walk, what is that?
Yes, sir, let me,
There was medicine involved too.
There's what?
I heard medicine. You used the word medicine.
no, I said, you mean as far as,
Now, what is a devil's walk?
a devil's walk is where my fence lies on the, Mr. George's side. He would leave a space of at minimum 10 feet and build another fence. Therefore, his horse is not nose to nose with my horse.
So there are 2 animals.
But
There's
his-
several along Ironworks and most of the horse
Well,
people
yeah,
have them.
that's what I asked earlier.
That's what I'm referring to. I
But-
apologize if
This
I
is
was using
outside the
colloquial.
paddock, so.
Yeah, he's not gonna have any horses there.
Horses are not- That's why the barn's there apparently, so there won't be horses there.
He won't have horses on that fence line.
What's your main issue?
My
I don't
main issue
understand.
is the rural character.
I think it's intact.
The reason people move to the country is to allow a little space, breathing room, privacy, if you will. That's the whole point. And so with 5 total acres to construct on, I lose the reasoning of putting all the buildings right on my fence line.
I would say convenience, just as somebody very familiar with agriculture.
Yes.
And like, as you should be as well, I'm assuming, because you said you had equine, that breaking ice in a water in the middle of winter is way more convenient. Like if you're walking right behind your house and it looks like they're wanting this behind their home, if you're shaking out leaves of hay, and doing stalls and it's an ice storm, who doesn't want to not have to walk across their pasture like that? I see that their reasoning, and I'm assuming, is convenience as well as being able to take care of their pasture without having obstacles in their way.
Can you go back to that picture for one more time? I want to ask her a question about that picture.
This one?
Is that your house right there on the right?
It's pretty far back.
Yes, it is.
So actually, the barn's going to be farther away from your house than their current house is.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be further away from my fields.
I see, I know, okay. Any other questions for
Excuse me,
her?
not farther away than your what?
From my fields, from my horses.
Okay.
How many horses do you have?
I have 6. I have 15
And how many do you
acres.
have?
We have 2, ma'am.
2.
Yeah. All right. So, Any other questions for staff?
So it's currently 25 foot off from the fence line, right? And you need another 20, the variance is 25 feet, because it's supposed to be 50, right?
It's supposed to be 50. They're asking for 25-foot distance from the property line rather than 50.
But it's there right now at 25, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
And I do want to point out, I walked it last night just in case. Like I said, I plan for a living. I'm obviously not very well here, but for my work for Amazon. And there's no visual difference in where the barn currently sits at 25 feet versus 50. It's just as,
We would literally move it up straight 25 if we had to.
yeah,
Like, it would still be.
yeah, it would be a significant,
Sight line would stay the same as what you're saying?
sideline is absolutely.
There's already.
Have any other neighbors called in?
No.
Okay. So this Devil's Walk, Charlie, I mean, that's not required,
I don't think it's applicable.
because no one else has to do that. I mean, even if they had horses there.
Horse farms everywhere have that to keep horses away from.
The
sticking at each other.
trees
But-
and
but-
climbing.
But it's not
But that's
the
not here.
neighbors, yeah, it's not the neighbor's job to do that, though, right? And the horses won't be
Well,
there.
No, they have that on the outside fences as well as
Okay.
the inside patio, so
Okay.
no, that's very common.
Okay.
But if there's no horses here, this is a barn, barns don't sniff at other horses, so.
You're staying in the paddock with your horses unless you're putting them in the barn, correct? They won't be running around your house with a
Yeah, absolutely
Jasper?
not.
Okay.
I think the only issue we really need to think about here
Is
is
it will?
either tear it down or move it, which
I think
I got
that's
to admit,
ridiculous.
I mean, that looks like the kind of barn my grandfather used to build.
Yeah,
so
It's
that-
solid.
That's
Looking.
substantial. I was thinking more of a pole barn kind of thing, this is
No.
clearly not
No,
anything
sir,
like that.
it's certainly not. And,
Yeah, so, I think the other thing to consider perhaps would be, as an alternative, would be simply the screening that Mark brought up. Because, I mean, this is never going to take away from the agricultural
No.
area, quality of the area. I mean, that's a gorgeous barn.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's
No,
a
I think
gorgeous
it's,
barn.
I drive Galloway all the time, as I'm sure
I do
Janet
too.
does and you, and that is conducive with everything we see all the way to 227 to Paul Tackett, so.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion,
Okay.
if everybody's done with the questions.
Y'all ready for a motion?
My only thing about adding that screening, if it's gonna include, landscaping, you know, that kind of thing, is that once you put that up against a fence, then you have,
Maintenance issues.
well, not only that, but like, it could fall on the fence and then you have that problem. Like, I'm not a big fan of that. But like,
Yes, ma'am. And to add on to that point, my wife's a horse vet. She works for Lexington Equine Medical Group. You know, she's came home and told me numerous times about issues with trees and vegetation right on property lines, right on fences, falling over, causing damage, allowing
No.
horses to get out, you know, injuring horses. And that's the main thing here. With respect to our neighbor, we wanted to keep our horses separate, you know, like, that's.
but that's where the barn is.
I hate to interrupt you, but that's probably more where a Devil's Walk is going to be appropriate,
I'm
is
going
putting
by
trees
four
around,
conditions.
or putting
That's-
fences around the trees.
Yes, sir.
But no, you don't want them interfering with her fence at all.
Exactly.
But you put the fence around the trees, that way
That's
it
right.
doesn't affect her fence, it doesn't affect your barn, but yet it screens the visibility. So I think that is a reasonable alternative.
He feels the screen should be there. So you're saying screen with the fence there?
No, I'm not saying to do
Oh.
that, I'm just saying that is an
Absolutely.
alternative.
Yes.
But we
The-
don't
The
have.
questions about the trees.
Right, I
I
understand.
think are answered by, you put, just like you drive up Newtown Pike.
And
you're
there's
gonna
the-
see fences
Yeah.
around trees
I
all over the place.
think if you add the trees though, you're creating yet another problem and another responsibility,
Well,
and
that's the
I'm
owner's-
just
that's the
throwing that
owner's
out there.
responsibility. I
Yeah,
mean, that's-
yeah.
That's property ownership.
Okay,
I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion.
throw a motion out there, we'll see how we all feel.
On S 2025-23, I make a motion that we approve based upon 4 conditions in our packet. And
Excuse me, I think one of those conditions, was it left out, now there's supposed to be 5?
There were 5,
yeah, but we just got 4 in the
He's
packet.
excluding the screening one. He's saying the 4 in the packet without the
Oh,
screening
okay,
added.
well, if that's intentional, then that's fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, got it. Okay, thank you.
So you are making a motion that we approve with the conditions but excluding the screening? Is that what you're
Yes,
saying?
correct.
I second.
All right, that motion's been made, second.
Yes, second.
Channing seconds it. Any,
Oh, I'm sorry, did you say?
Yes, second.
all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, ladies.
So that I'm clear, the recommendations, the conditions.
1, 2, 3, and 5, I guess 4 is no longer in there.
Okay, so no screening required.
Oh, yeah, that's right, it'd be 1, 2, 3.
3 and 5 according to him, but
Or
4
what's
according to
on the-
packet, yes.
What's on the presentation.
Yes.
Or it's 1 through 4, is what's in the packet.
Correct.
I better get that straight too, huh?
Yeah. Right.
And you all understand forever on, you asked,
Yes, ma'am, completely understand.
You're responsible for your property.
Absolutely.
All right. Is there any other,
One thing I'd like to note.
Hold it.
You guys may have noticed a new face sitting
Yes.
at the planners table. This is Miss Toshi Tucson.
Toshi?
She's a
Toshi
new
with a
graduate
T.
from
sorry.
Georgia Tech. I was just making sure. Yeah, so new graduate from Georgia Tech, so this is her first week. As a planner one, it's very likely she'll be handling some of your cases moving forward. And so we're very excited to have her on board and excited to see the work that she can do.
She looks so scared.
We'll be nice for the first little while.
But
Teasing.
as you can see, it gets really rotten quick.
All right, any other business?
Could you do a favor? Write your name down there. These guys' pronunciations are rotten.
I thought it was with a D until I asked about the T.
Meeting adjourned?
No, no.
No, wait, Tommy
I'd like
has.
to address something to the P and Z board, that next year, if the Festival of Horse is the same time or day as our meeting is, that we readjust our meeting day.
I will note for the record, I've never been to Festival of the Horse on Thursday because either planning commission or we have the board of adjustment, but we can, when we get our agenda or our calendar for the year up, we'll flag it and try to make sure that we don't put you guys there.
Please do so.
Toshi, it's your responsibility.
It'll either have to be probably the first, like the last Thursday of the month of
Bye,
August,
Jasper.
or it have to be.
Thank you, ladies and
See
gentlemen.
y'all later.
Sorry, you'll have to witness a blowout. It could be maybe the third Thursday, so I'll have to see with that one, but we can discuss it.
All right, well, just kind of make a note, so,
I'll put in,
thank you.
Talk to Lori, make sure we know.
yeah, maybe Laura
Try
does
it
it
out.
for us, not for her.
Now, can we be adjourned?
I don't think.
Yes.
Meeting adjourned.